Shalom, this is Deborah with Black Education TV. Family, some days that you awake, everything seems so gloomy and so out of balance. A lot of uncertainties and things of that nature that just kind of overwhelm you. And there are things that happen in the lives of others that can tend to take you out of your game. And sometimes those who are on the sidelines watching the lives of others think they know something about another person, and they have no idea, and they can sometimes add to the troubles of another person. And this is why we must be very careful with how we deal with one another. There are things happening behind the scenes that you are fully unaware of. Things in my life and my family's life and your life, your family, and others that you know. Things are happening. And life is very fragile, family. It's very, very fragile. You don't know the tears that others have to cry. You have no idea. I looked at, there was a couple of posts on Facebook that kind of struck my attention. One was a sister whose mom had passed away, and she was really rattled by how her family came at her about the situation, and their concern didn't seem to be with her or her mother, but the superficial things. What can I get out of this type thing? I don't know all the details. I'm just going off of what I heard in her video, but she was very, very troubled, and you could see her pain, her frustration, and her anger. And see, people bring you to that. They bring you to that. I saw another post where someone had lost a child, and you have people on the outside looking at this person and judging their life and all of this stuff, and they don't know all of the details. There's a saying that says there's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. Okay. I don't know the details of any of this or anyone's life in a way that I could really say who's right or who's wrong in a situation unless I was there. But I do know this, that sometimes people have to bow out of situations that are none of their business. Now, we're not saying that you can't discuss things that you see or know about in a general sense. Okay? You can discuss things in a general sense, kind of like, you see the happenings in the so-called black community, and you discuss it in a general sense because you see the turmoil that we are faced with constantly. And you see all of the troubles that are attached to our woes as a people. So you're basically commenting in a general sense. In a general sense. But for the most part, you have people who I would say were considered to be busybodies in other people's matters, who kind of deal with those situations from a worldly standpoint or a fleshly standpoint, to where they're not really concerned of the outcome. It's just something else for them to talk about, something else for them to ridicule someone for, something else for them to occupy their day with. You see, this happens when you have a people whose mind is not really focused on things that matter. Not really focused on things that matter. I just heard something back in the woods. I'm not going to go too much in that direction. This is hunting season, family, and we haven't started hunting yet. But other people around here do hunt. And I don't want to be confused for something that walks on four legs. You know how folks say, "Oh, I thought that was a deer." Whatever. Okay, I got off target there real quick. But it's sad that our minds have to go there because we have enemies who like to say, "Oh, I didn't know," things of that nature, because they want to do things to us. We have enemies who want to harm us, enemies who, you all know where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to talk about that. So let me get back to the subject at hand. When I came out here, I actually came out here to talk about something else, and I kind of veered off in that direction as it relates to, things that people are going through and how others peer into your life from a distance, and they think they have the whole picture, and they start to talk about these things and, in a sense, judge you without knowing what it is you are facing, what it is you are going through, the tears that you cry. What's going on in your life, what you are having to deal with. I mean, there are things that my husband and I have to deal with that for some people would be very overwhelming. And so you can imagine what it's like for us. Yes, these things are overwhelming, but the Most High gets us through these things. He gets us through these things, and we have to hear His voice on what it is we must do and how we must proceed. Some details of our lives we wish we could share more, but I already know that some people cannot handle some of the things. And sometimes you have to talk in code because there are spiritual battles that are being waged out here against the children of Israel that sleepers are fully unaware of. Sometimes those sleepers are in those battles, but they are only the target, but not engaged in the battle. This is why we've been talking about spiritual warfare. There's something that happened that maybe one day we will expound upon, but we are not at liberty to do that right now. The Most High forbade us to do so. His children are not ready for some things. There are some things the children of Israel are not ready for. Now, you may have individuals here and there, pockets here and there that are, but in a general sense, some things you cannot discuss with the general audience. We must be careful, family, of how we deal with one another. Must be very careful. When you don't deal rightly or righteously with one another, you have no idea the consequences that can come from that. There are some that the Most High moves swiftly on. There are others that the Most High will have mercy on. Okay? And if you don't know what position you're in, if you don't know where you stand in all of this, it is better to make sure that your anchor holds and grips a solid rock. Again, there was a number of posts where, one sister's mom had passed and another sister lost her child, and the people in and around their lives added to their troubles. And I can continue to make videos like this and say what is wrong with our people. But see, at this point, we already know what is wrong. So when I ask that question, what's wrong with us? I'm not asking as if I don't know. It's just a statement that's being made, okay? What is wrong with us is that we have hearts that have been hardened. We have a stiff-necked nature, a hard-headed nature, a rebellious nature, a sinful nature. Everything about us has separated us from Abba Yah. And unfortunately, too many of us are comfortable with that. I'm listening at nature as I speak, family. Earlier today, Me and one of the other sisters here heard shooting in the woods, in which is hunting. They've been hunting for some time now, but I apologize for that, family. I'm always intrigued by the sounds of nature. This is Yah's creation. Yah's creation, and at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, Yah is going to have his way in the heavens above and the earth below. You know, the word says, let everything that hath breath praise Yah. And I hear the animals praising Abba Yah right now. As we humans go through our woes and our troubles, nature carries on. They live. They do what they've been commanded to do. The birds fly, the animals roam, the fish swim. Everything is doing what it's supposed to do. But mankind, not so much. Let everything that hath breath praise Abba Yah. Family, I love Abba Yah so much, because I know his love is in my heart. I love his creation, and I love his people. I do. I'm so grateful to Abba Yah. With all that said, family, I still pray and ask that the Most High give me a clean heart. Create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. I also pray that the Most High would purge out anything that is not like him. My life is in Yah's hands, and I am in total submission to Abba Yah. I love my Father. I love everything that he has done for us. Family, I don't know if you all can hear that as good as I can, but those animals are having a conversation. If only we knew what that conversation was all about. Abba Yah knows. Abba Yah knows. In the past couple of days, some things have happened. And we've had some conversations here. Some very deep conversations. Very deep conversations. That I wish we could share with our general audience, but we can't. Family, there's a spiritual world out here. There's another dimension that most of us can't handle. Most of us don't want to know. We don't even want to even begin to try to understand. Life is more than just the stuff you see and the things that you go through. Life is more than experiencing death through others who leave here. It goes beyond that, family. When that spirit and that soul separates from that body, something else happens. There is something else that happens, family. That's not it. That's not the end. When we think of life, we think in those terms, like that is it. We think that it is finished at that point. No, it's not finished. The story has just begun. When you die and you leave here, the story has just begun. But too many times we make it about the things that the dead leave behind. That is such a wicked way to think. Such a wicked way to think. There is no thought of where the person's soul is. Were they right with Abba Yah? None of that. I think I'm going to head back now. I had some thoughts come to mind, and I think I'm going to head back now. I love you, family. Like I said the other day in another video, I don't have to know you to pray for you. Likewise, I don't have to know you to love you. I remember when I was a child, actually a teenager. I believe a child and a teenager are two different things. But when I was a teenager, I remember an elder laid his hands on me and said that the Most High has put the spirit of love in me for his people. I've always known this because it's always been there, even when I was literally a child. I remember having a love for Yah's people. It was just there. It's always been there. I remember also when I was very young, when one of my relatives called me Jeremiah, and I didn't understand at first why she would call me Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, but it was later revealed that Jeremiah was the weeping prophet who wept for Israel and would go before the Most High for Israel. And then I understood why this relative of mine, they grabbed me and they were hugging me and they said that you're like the prophet Jeremiah. I remember that happening a very long time ago. And so sometimes people don't understand why. This is why I say you can't get the full understanding of a person's life just from a few sound bites or a few videos or a couple of encounters or phone conversations. You have to go back in history to see what has happened. There have been many things that have happened in my life. Likewise, I'm sure many things have happened in all of your lives too. We are all different. We all have a different past, and we will all have different stories and things that we can share. But one thing that I hold dear is the fact that I love Abba Yah's people. I do. But the Most High is teaching me how to direct that love. That it can't always be the mushy stuff. That sometimes that love has to come correct. Meaning, sometimes you have to tell it like it is because you love someone. And I think this world, this present world, has us too afraid to tell it like it is. We think that you're loving someone by not expounding on certain things that make them feel uncomfortable. Sometimes you have to make a person feel uncomfortable because you love them. You have to talk about those things that they may not want to hear or deal with because you love them. Today, love has been confused with tolerance. If this person chooses a certain lifestyle or want to be a certain way, tolerance is love, according to this world. But no, love is when you tell a person the truth, when you tell them reality, when you tell it like it is. That's what true love is. This is why the Most High deals with us in true love. He says, I chastise those whom I love. I chastise those whom I love. In other words, I'm going to deal with you as a child because I want you to do right, and I want you to be right. I'm not going to allow you to continue in this path because this path is destruction. I want to say something to you all right now. You see the ducks and the goose, the way they are crouching right now. The goose is on one leg, and he turns his head to the opposite direction from the leg that's down because he's resting. And let me tell you something about this rest. The same with the ducks. Their head turns a certain way when they're resting. Now, normally, when a human approaches, they abandon this position and go off. But let me tell you why they're still here like this. Sylvester, you saw him as he turned his head around, and he put the one leg up, and he turned his head towards the position of the leg that's up to create balance. But let me tell you why he feels comfortable doing this. These three birds, they know that I'm mommy, and they know that I love them, and they feel safe. They know that I'm not here to hurt them, that I can stand within feet of them. Now, sometimes they run off, sometimes they run up to us, but at this moment they're tired. They're like, I'm sleepy, I'm tired. And so I'm not going to run off. I don't want to go in the water right now. I want to be here. And I feel safe because that's my mother, that's my mommy. And so she's not going to hurt me. So I can just rest assured. I can stand right here and I can rest because she means me no harm. Yes. Okay, family. I know I said I was going to cut this off, but I had to talk about that briefly because usually my babies, they leave that position when we come close. They weren't prepared, but they didn't do it. This time they decided that they're going to remain in that position, resting and sleeping, because it's just mommy. Mommy's not going to hurt us. The Most High, again, like I said before, he's trying to show me how to direct this love that I have for his people, because it can't always be the mushy stuff. It has to be in a way that the message will be received and applied. There's a time and a place for the mushy stuff, but there's a time and a place also for the correction. And this is something that we all must prepare our minds for, our hearts for. Because there are some things that are about to take place, family. Now, we all see the natural things, but I'm referring to the spiritual things. Are you ready for that? So many of us are not ready for that. We're so caught up in the natural that we cannot even imagine the spiritual. This is what we want to prepare your hearts for, family. And with that, I will say shalom.